Day 23, November 30th. For this afternoon's doe hunt, we're going on to one of my favorite spots on the farm, a spot that we call Old Reliable. Zach and I hunted up there one time when I was still buck hunting, and we saw a decent number of deer, I think, and it should be a spot where the does would be coming out. The only downside of this location is the average shot distance is going to be 30 plus. So it's a little bit challenging. It's about 55 yards across and 50 yards across, something like that. And the deer tend to go, more or less down the middle of it. So be prepared for a little bit longer shooting. It'd be fun to see if there's any bucks over here that we don't have any trail camera pictures of. It's an area that's surrounded by cover. And at any given time, at this point in the season, you could expect a buck that's rutted down to start looking for food. So hopefully we'll get our eyes on a nice buck and shoot a couple does. If you look at the big and beastie in this plot, you'll see that it's chewed right to the ground. And then you compare that to where we were yesterday evening, and it was lush and probably 12 to 18 inches tall. This spot did pretty well, but it didn't grow probably quite as fast as the other spot. But there's just a lot of deer using this. We saw that when we were here in November, or I guess it's still November, but earlier in November. So it's going to be, I don't know. I have to think they're still going to come out here. There's still some food there, but it's not anything like it was 3 weeks ago. Ooh. There's still another one down there. I'm not sure if it's a fawn or a doe. But so there's a lot to talk about here. That that first one, she had to have dropped quite a bit because I think I was aiming with about my 20-yard pin and she was 25 to 27 yards away, and ended up hitting her in the spine. I've had does that have completely gotten out of the whole sight picture at 30 yards from the time I triggered the shot until the arrow got there. So they seem to be quicker than bucks. They just react quicker. But anyway, once she went down, and I shot another arrow into her and finished her, but that created sort of a curiosity factor for the rest of the deer. And I've seen that happen before, where I've shot a doe that fell close by, and then all the other deer that came out circled around on the downwind side. And that second one that came in took a little bit longer than I would have liked, and she was a little bit spookier than I wanted. So I ended up shooting her, even though we didn't have it on camera. Zach said she was behind that dead ash tree, but I just couldn't wait any longer. As spooky as she was and the way she was acting, I wasn't sure if she was going to stick around. If it would have been a buck, I wouldn't have shot. We always try to bring you those on camera, but shooting does is sometimes a little bit more like just taking care of business. And you don't want to have too many of them get away, because like I've talked, there's a certain number of them that I have to kill every year. And I won't say it's not sporting. It certainly is sporting, but it's more of a task. You need to take care of it. You need to get these things, bring the population down. So we've got a couple of deer here, so we should have some good meat. Like I said, I've got people around the area that want these, so it does a lot of good in a lot of ways. Hopefully we can get at least one more to come back out, and I guess if you're going to drag 2, might as well drag 3.